Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. More, hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Buzz, buzz, babies. Happy New Comic Book Day, everybody. It's Blake's Buzz Live. I don't even know what we call this show anymore. It's not, this is what I do more than the, anyway, we're not, doesn't matter. It's Blake's Buzz. It's Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day. I've got some awesome guests about to come on. You may notice I'm branded now, baby. I announced a while back I am the publicist for Invader Comics, and tonight I've got two of the three behind the chaos, behind the invasion of Invader Comics, and I'm so stoked to bring these guys in. They're so passionate about comics, and they're not afraid to take risks in their storytelling endeavors and in their publication endeavors. And that's why I'm so just beyond stoked to be working with these guys. And I'm so stoked to have them on my show and introduce them to you and talk about this amazing new book that they have on Kickstarter tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Kevin Miller, Mr. Mike Perkins in the house. What is up, gentlemen? How are you two doing tonight?
We're great. We're happy to be here. Well, I'm only speaking for myself. Mike, you can speak to.
No, I'm good too. I'm also good.
Mike's had to deal with me before. He's used to me, yeah. I think by now.
Well, guys, thanks for having us, man.
No, man. I'm really, really excited. I love Unknown Caller. I've been pretty vocal about it. I don't have to remind people that people aren't paying me to say this, right? But I just I'm so honored to be part of this campaign and to help promote it, to help get the news out there. I got to read the book really early too, which is just awesome. I love getting stuff before the fucking plebes, right? These little, I'm just kidding. We love all you guys. Please back the campaign.
Note that Blake said that, not either Mike.
I used to always joke that I wanted to be one of those people, when you see other creators that get to read stuff early and they're like, oh, I read Matt Rosensberg new book or whatever, and it's so good, and then they're like, but we can't really talk about it yet. And I always wanted to be that guy, right? I wanted to be like, oh, I just read this comic book that was awesome, but I can't talk about it. And then when it actually happens, it's kind of a bummer. It's not a huge bummer, but you're I would love to talk about this right now. Or the big one is after the shows, sometimes when we hang out for a minute and talk, and I get all the industry secrets, and Press Blake is write that shit down and put it in Substack. But then of course no one would ever talk to me again. But yeah, it's so weird to get that insider information, right? And to have these secrets, and it's you would think sometimes it's empowering, but yeah, a lot of times it's just stuff. There's so much cool stuff out there, and comics are such a slow process, right? And so when you're in it, you learn about stuff so early, and you're it's like that creator analogy where it's it's like screaming into the void, right? And we're doing all, and you're just you want to tell people, but you can't, so you just sit in your room and talk to yourself about it. And just kidding.
And the process,
I have friends, I swear.
Especially for the process especially for indie books is much slower.
Yeah.
It's just you're just sitting with these comics and scripts for a long time, gathering up, if you're going to do the self-funding, you're gathering up the funds to pay for an artist, you're rewriting, so don't feel like you're wasting money. It's it becomes a whole thing. And then, obviously some of the people that you're collaborating with are not necessarily professional artists, and they're sort of finding time to do it. And that just extends the process. So yeah, for something for Unknown Color, that's been done for almost a year now.
Wow.
But just sort of finding, the right time to sort of drop it, and making sure, the script has been done for probably over a year and a half. So just the process of identifying an artist and going back and forth and with them to sort of create the look and feel and style, that adds additional time. So the process takes forever. And then just getting it to print and sort of getting it out into the world adds additional layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they say good things come to those who wait, right? You know, like I turned 37 this year and I finally ended up in a career I'm actually in love with. So like, I mean, so sometimes that things that take time really do pay off. And in this instance, I would argue that Unknown Caller, however long that took, whatever actions went on behind the scenes, it all happened for a reason, because this book's a fucking banger, ladies and gentlemen. It is so good. It's creepy, it's weird, it's fucking brutal. I love the black and white art. Marco's art is so great. Shout out to the comics real quick. My co-host Cole, we're both coming out of weenie oli comas today, but thanks for coming in and getting invaded with us, baby. But yeah, it's you know, you can tell that you spent a lot of time with this. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin is the writer of this comic we're talking about, and I'm doing a great job. My bosses are on the show and I can't even tell them who did what. But it's a great script.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And Mike helped me sort of pull it together, and I'm very appreciative. He's the editor, chief. What are you officially? What is your official title?
Editor-in-chief, editor. I mean, there's only one. So.
Editor-in-chief of Invader Comics, and he sort of like helped me sort of like form this. Like Unknown Caller sort of like came together. It sort of like pieces some of my worst fears of being a new parent. I feel like this sort of like taps like some dark places of kind of where, and like, I don't know kind of like the best way to frame it, but it's just sort of like kind of like allowed me to put a lot of my fears as being a young parent in one place, and kind of just like, hey, this is like probably the worst case scenario, and this
wrap this up in a little box,
yeah, and put it in a comic form and put it out into the world. But it just like sort of like helped me kind of like put some perspective on like really what's important in life in a kind of like a weird way, and it sort of needed to come out of me as like a creative outlet, because I had a lot of anxieties about being a new father, and this definitely helped alleviate some of that. It's sort of weird to say that, but like creatively sort of was just like, okay, well, I've packaged this up and I put a name to it, I guess.
I think, and it's great to hear too, because how many times have you seen like a comedian that you love, and then they have a kid and they come back and they kind of suck?
Yeah, or a writer. I won't drop a name, but one of my favorite writers was doing really cool, dark, scary stuff, and then was kind of off for a couple years. And his kid had some problems too. But then like about a year later, now he's putting out some new bangers, and so it does. I guess it does come back at least. But yeah, it's like, don't have children, people. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just kidding.
It's been a wonderful experience, but there's a lot of anxieties tied to it.
I can't imagine.
For sure.
Yeah, my family has given up. Like my sister is about to get married, and my soon-to-be brother-in-law, like they're not really into it. And my sister has some issues too. So like, even if she wanted to have kids, it would be like a process. It's like not a total definite no, but there would be like hormones and weird shit. And she's pretty much said like, I don't want to mess with that. And he's cool with that too. And I'm going on 40 and single, so everybody pretty much gave up hope for me. So we all like dogs in our family. But like, when this is totally different. You're going to be like, shut up, Blake. But like when we got our new puppy, Bruce, man, we got him after like losing a couple dogs. And so he's instantly spoiled. He's way too important, way too fast. And everybody just loves him so much. And he like ran away a couple times, and it was just like, oh man, it was so scary. And I just like, I can't even imagine like having a kid, right? Because it's like, there's so many mistakes you can make. Like, no pressure, Kevin. I'm sure you're going to do great. But just they're so malleable, right? Like there's just, like I didn't have I have a pretty good family, but like my parents, like a lot of people didn't think my parents would stay together, and there was some like rough fights, growing up, and it was kind of awkward for my sister and I sometimes. And like I said, everything's cool. Like we're all real tight and real close and everything now. But yeah, it's just It's a lot of pressure, and I see the beauty in it, and kids are cute and they do funny things, and they make for some really funny TikTok videos when they say bad words or do cute stuff with animals. Like I get that part, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just I'm glad it's working for you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's fertile grounds surely to
Well, if it was infertile, you wouldn't have a kid.
yeah.
I'm on one tonight, baby.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
You're on one. Let's do this.
How old's the kid?
4. So it's sort of been a process of like sort of like that, obviously, like figuring out how to do the balance as well of like how do you sort of fulfill your creative self while sort of being a good parent and also having a day job and sort of fulfilling the needs that you have to creatively satisfy. And that's also part of why I started like writing comics, was to just have a sort of like a frictionless creative process. So it's just sort of like I could write a thing, and if I felt strongly enough about it, I could truly like find an artist, create something that I have like that is tactile. Nice. And that I could sort of like share and put out into the world. Like the reason that Mike and I know each other is because we work in production, and we're servicing a lot of different masters there. We are working for agencies, we're working for clients, we're working for brands, and that is very fulfilling and very engaging and very challenging. But like having a space that you can just be creative and you can just be like, this is the thing that I want to do. I can engage with somebody who can help me heighten and lift it and make it better, or add some additional ideas to it and sort of help visualize it and make like breathe life into it. And then obviously collaborating with Mike on like the storytelling aspects and sort of making it fuller and more interesting. And then bringing Marco to add his sort of flair to kind of like make the characters sort of real. Yeah. and like to, I guess, more, not necessarily real, but like, create them in a 2D environment and just sort of like breathe some life and flow and create that sort of like really interesting thing that happens between the panels. And I just think that it's just such a wonderful sort of process to have, where you're just like, I'm just going to make this thing. It's on me to create. And then it's basically like force of will to sort of like get it from point A to point B and hopefully into people's hands. And like, I'm just really proud of this piece. I think it's like, this is my second comic. The first was Recall, which came out last year.
Oh my God.
Which was, Recall is sort of like a textless book because it actually had a script and had text and dialogue, but I was really unsure of it. And I was just like, when I was like looking at the pages and I had some of the book lettered, and I was just like, oh, it's just sort of getting in the way of the art. And I didn't feel really confident about what I had put on the page. And I don't know that it added a lot, but like coming out with Unknown Caller and sort of having like the dialogue and having it sort of like text driven a little bit more, like I felt really good about that. And I felt like I had learned a lot from Recall that I could sort of apply to this to sort of make it a little bit more fulfilling. Nice. And just sort of have it be more sort of like dialogue driven, which was very exciting. And I feel like there's like a nice evolution and flow to the work. That
you're doing it backwards.
Yeah.
You're supposed to start off with too much dialogue and then slowly pare it down as you get better as a visual storyteller. You started off with the hard one.
Yeah, but I also had like Daniel Zeze doing the art on Recall, and just like you just don't want to get in the way of how awesome his sort of his design and his illustration and everything is so dynamic and painterly, and he just really leans into the shapes and forms in such a really unique way. And Marco is an amazing visual storyteller. And so just the way that he shows dynamicism through like movement and character and like is like character acting within the page and is just so great. So like things just like that I had written in text, like sort of just like translated into sort of like, you could see the thought behind these characters' eyes, even when they're not sort of like verbally speaking. So it just sort of allowed me to pull back on some of the dialogue and lean in a little bit more in other places. And I mean, Mark was so talented that he sort of like helped amplify like the thought behind the thought and just sort of like made it sort of fuller on the page.
Yeah, you guys definitely are quite the pair in this new book. Unknown Callers, like just beyond impressive. Like I remember reading it the first time, and I don't usually read solicits. Like I don't like them. Sometimes I think they give away too much. I understand their importance for the industry and stuff, but you know, sometimes I like going in blind. And so like when I started reading this, you know, and then you know, that opening scene where we get the phone call and then we see the wire, right? And it's like I was like, okay, something weird's going on here, right? And then you kind of forget about that for a while, and then it gets real violent, and you're following along for this really great revenge tale that turns into something a little bit spectacular, a little bit spooky, a little bit, and then a lot of bit heartbreaking too. I don't want to speak out of turn and spoil too much, but yeah, there's a lot going on here, and it's a really, really great experience. And I love that it's an OGN. I love that it's an original graphic novel. You know, like people are going to get this. They're gonna get it in their hands. They're gonna sit down. They're gonna read it. Their fucking minds blown, and then they're gonna think about it, and then they're probably gonna set it down, and then they're gonna pick it up again and read it again. Similar to what Recall does. They very, very much welcome, you know, second screenings in a sense, or even, you know, going back like a third time, a fourth time. There's just so much to get. Real quick shout out to the chat. We got Comics by the Bay, and what's up? Everybody's invaded Cole, that poor guy. Mr. John Westoff of Part-Time Comics is in the house. Buzz baby, happy to have you guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We are here tonight talking about Unknown Caller from Invader Comics, written by Kevin Miller, and it's live on Kickstarter right now. You can get that really, really great exclusive cover of that broken glass phone screen. It's such a good looking piece. And then if for some reason, if Kickstarter's not,
the cover is done by the Invader art director Mike Nelson.
That's right, Mike Nelson.
He is absolutely incredible, and this was like sort of like an idea that we've been tossing back and forth for a while since I sort of shared with him the book, and he kind of like brought it to life in a very graphic way. And the diamond cover is by Marco, which is also great and wonderful in a number of different ways, but they still play on like the fractured glass imagery, and it kind of like carries over from both the diamond to the Kickstarter exclusive cover.
I really like how you guys do that. We've talked about this on a couple shows. I've talked about it with people when they ask me about you guys, and Mike actually did a really great job. Was it last Friday on Explain Yourself? Right, that was last Friday.
Yeah.
Like he did a really good job explaining like why you guys do the things you do, and how a lot of this is to kind of like work. It makes you guys work in a sense directly with your readers and with like shop owners, and how this kind of weird system of like going to Kickstarter, then going to the direct market, but you know, offering that Kickstarter exclusive cover, offering the Kickstarter goodies, offering the backlog at, you know, a discounted nice price and stuff. Like, you know, it helps you connect with your fans more, and then also like you guys, you know, connect with the real retailers more to try and circumvent Diamond for numerous reasons. You know, like fuck them, right? But anyways, I said it, you guys did, it's fine. Diamond's not paying me.
It's and Mike will probably say it more eloquently, but like it's just a balance in being where the readers are, and like a lot of people who read indie books are on Kickstarter, and we're very thankful for that. But then there are also opportunities that people go, you know, every Wednesday to their comic shop, and they're like, hey, hopefully they'll stock our book. But, you know, I think that there's just a nice balance. And I don't think that you know, we're cannibalizing either business. We're just like allowing for some growth in both markets. And
it just creates an opportunity for people who don't, you know, like you said, people don't always want to walk into a comic shop, and I encourage people to. I want to support comic shops everywhere and local businesses in general, but some people just don't want to, and they're on Kickstarter. And so by offering a completely unique cover to them, we like to think we're giving them something special.
Yeah.
We're not offering, or we're not asking, more than you would for, like the regular cover in most instances, but we also are giving, 2 books for every one that funds there. We, include things like stickers or book plates. And I really like creating that stuff.
Yeah.
I would send that stuff to comic shops all over the country if I could find out which comic shops were actually buying our books, but I can't find that out.
Yeah.
So I spent a long time doing this, thinking about like, oh man, it would be great to do blank. It would be great to do blank. But like, most of the time, if you do that, you're talking about bringing them to a convention and you put them on a table, and 99% of those stickers just get thrown into a bag that nobody actually even opens again. You feel like it's a waste. I want, like, it's cool stuff. I want to create it and I want to show it off to people, just like the book.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until you were talking to Kevin and his guests last week about how you guys don't know, like if a shop orders 1,000 copies of your book, say, you'll never know what shop that was. And I was like, that's fucking crazy. Like, that's so insane. Like, how do you run like a business of selling things and not have metrics to track it? Like, I don't know, like that kind of blew my mind. Oh, they just don't share it. Oh, that's even more messed up.
Yeah, and it's even more frustrating because, like, even if we didn't know shop by shop who's ordering it, maybe we just have a really huge presence in the Northwest for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe 80% of the shops that are buying our stuff are in the Northwest. So that information alone would behoove, would be able to figure out where to, I don't know, talk to people, different conventions to go to, any of these very, very important things in modern business. But we don't get that opportunity, so we decided to invade and create our own.
Well, hey, whatever happened, I'm glad it happened because I got a fucking job out of it. No, but I liked you guys before. I mean, the reason why these guys reached out to me is because we've crossed paths. We've talked comics and kind of vibed on the Twitter sphere, beforehand. But I really do like and believe in what these guys are doing, and they as I said, like they are not afraid to take risks, and they're not, the stuff you guys are publishing is just like weird in the best way. Like it's different than what's out there. And I mean, speaking of, let's bring up the Kickstarter page, just kind of look around. All right, so we're funded $837. I love how your goal is always 666. Like the little boy that was raised Catholic in me just loves it. We got a week left, ladies and gentlemen. So you got plenty of time to back it if you feel so inclined. If you don't back it, please pre-order it. You can pre-order this cover right here by Marco from your local comic book store. This graphic novel is very, very much worth your time, worth an exploration or two. And like I said, it's a good buy. Like, this is a book where you're going to buy it, you're going to read it. It reads quickly because it pulls you in so well and takes you on this wild ride. That's just like, it's very, very hard to put down. Like, if you take this into the bathroom with you, you're going to be in the bathroom for a minute. Like, you're not going to get off the throne until you've gone from cover to cover. It's just, it begs to be consumed in one sitting.
That, Blake, thank you. That is the highest honor.
I think that's going on the back of the book. That'll be the pull quote. If we
could get that as a pull quote, that would be amazing.
But yeah, so here's the direct market cover. And then we learn about, like, what this is about. Let's here. I'm going to come back to this real quick, but I wanted to ask you about the Sean Wook Revenge trilogy, because I'm unfamiliar with that and it sounds really cool. But so this is again, the sophomore effort from Kevin, his first book, Recall. I want to talk about that a little bit too later, just because I probably shouldn't. Well, I should have, because I'm a good host, but I read it again before the show and I forgot like how much it scrambles your brains. Like, it just like, oh, it's so visceral and crazy, and what it does to you when you're reading the narrative, and the like awe and confusion and fear it inspires is really great. And this does a lot of those same things. Like, Kevin is really good at like pulling out some deep rooted emotions. Some of them are uncomfortable, right? Like Kevin said earlier, this was all built from an uncomfortable fear of parenthood and like and what could happen in his worst fear. And so he had to like tell the story, he had to get the demons out in a sense. And now the demons are out and they're on the page and they're ready for you to read. And that's just so exciting. And then here's some of Marco's art. This black and white grayscale is so wonderful. I think it adds, we're about to see it here in just a moment. It really adds to the brutality of the narrative. Like here, like this like the way like the blood and motion stretches and it's like there's fluids and other things. Like it's like fucking, oh, it's raw, baby. I love it. It's crazy. And then like, and I love like when a big bad just cries and apologizes, like, oh my God. Like, but I mean, yeah, just look at again, we talked about like the way they emote, right? And just like that like awe-inspiring, like, I don't know if it's awe-inspiring. It's inspiring in an uncomfortable way, right? But just like how excited he is to like bring harm to these people. And then later when you find out why, you're like, I'd fucking smile on that bathroom floor too, breaking that guy's arm, right? And these people deserve it. But just brutal to the max, and I love it.
The best violence should always give you goosebumps, right?
Yeah. That's the pull quote. Not is that allowed for the editor-in-chief to give a pull quote on the back of a book?
I mean, I tell people how great our books are all the time. I'm not going to stop now.
Well, that's good. You're good at your job. That's you're a good editor, and a good hype man. That's what everybody needs.
That's what we need.
Shout out to K-pop. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Weird and Creepy is the absolute best. Yes, like it's got some awesome vibes. Feel free to check this out, K-pop. It's a very, very cool book. I love this Flump indeed. Like whoever writes your Kickstarter pages does it right.
Oh, thank you very much.
And then here's that exclusive cover that you can get on Kickstarter. And he works for or has worked for Heavy Metal too, right? Or still works for him, or did work for him?
That we put out for him back when we were 2 and 5 Inc. called Supernaut.
Okay.
Heavy Metal came to him and wanted to release it. We only ever released it digitally for individual issues, and then we collected it together for a print edition.
Nice.
They wanted to do a print-on-demand version of the individual issues. So Mike came to us and asked us, and I said, absolutely, dude, just do that. Do that immediately. Say yes.
That's awesome. Mike, which book is this? This is for Mike Nelson's book.
Supernaut. Yeah.
I remember when I got on Heavy Metal's press list and I was really, really excited. And then I realized how hard those issues are to review because there's all the short story compilations in them. Right. Yeah. So like you get, like if there's like there's a number 1 in each one, right? And like that's easy, but then like you'll run into like a part 5, and then you got to like go back and read like part 1 through 4 in the previous issues, and I was like, oh man, like this is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But I'd still, regardless of just me being lazy and a whiny baby, the Heavy Metal is like, I've always loved them. They're very cool. And so, yeah, they also have a good eye for risk taking and a good eye for comics. And that's, yeah, for them to come at you guys and want a taste of that's pretty cool. Here we go. Let's get into some tiers, because there's one tier in particular that I'm very excited for, and I want people to dive into. But if you're into digital stuff, that's your $6 baby right there. That'll get it sent straight to your tablet. If you're like me, I have a 12.4 inch tablet. I'm proud of it. It does a good job. I don't know if you guys have been following any of us on Twitter. That's been a running joke for a while, and we refuse to let it die.
That's your big deal.
It's hard to find a case that fits it. Now, anyway, so let's keep going here. Here's another good one. We get this is Kevin's both works, Recall and Unknown Caller, digitally for $12. For $12, is a lot of great comic, and this will send you into some dark, crazy places, and just really, really make you think about the medium differently, the way these guys experiment with these papers. Recall especially, I'm really stoked to talk to you about that in a minute. And then physically, yeah, $17. You can get either cover, and that's pretty much cover price, like we talked about. It's no one's trying to like squeeze any extra nickels and dimes out of you loyal Kickstarter people. We love you. And Here's what I like. This physical double feature, you can either get the standard covers for Unknown or Recall, or you can get the Kickstarter exclusive covers. And I really love that exclusive Recall cover. Like that's so
That's Daniel Crozier.
Yeah, that's your normal. You guys switched it up for this go around, but that's your usual go-to Kickstarter variant artist, right?
Usually, yeah, we've had him do
for the last few times anyway.
4 of them, I believe now.
Yeah, he did the animals one was really good. I remember that one.
He's absolutely incredible. Like Daniel's just has an amazing, Daniel Crozier has just an amazing eye.
Yeah, he's very. I love the. He did the same with animals like that. He did the bear's face and like the jaw, the muscular, like he does these like intricate like muscular like removes the skin from things, and it's like here we see the stag, and that stag has a very important part in this graphic novel. So it's just very, and the eye too. Like there's a whole lot of to do with like the eyes and like penetrating the gaze and going behind the eye in a sense, right? I love it.
Mike, what is the style that Daniel draws in?
It's Zentangle is what it's called, and that's actually how I met him, because I remembered this show or something from when I was a kid that had used that. It ended up being Wizards, Ralph Bakshi's Wizards. And I couldn't remember what it was called. I couldn't remember what it was. And I had posted a question on Twitter about like, oh, what is it when you have those lines all within geometric shapes? And he just randomly answered. And now he does covers for us.
Maybe I feel like talking about art is one of my weakest like elements as like a comic reviewer. I do okay. But I am worried that after so many reviews, people are going to notice I'm repeating myself and find me to be a fraud. Cause you like, I a lot of times I just want to be like, it looks so cool, but you have to do something else. Right. And I bought those like Will Eisner books to like learn to talk about art, but then like, guess who doesn't have time to read these fucking Will Eisner textbooks? This guy. But I do love it. But yeah, that's, his style, the colors, the reds he uses, the way he draws the muscles, like it's the absolutely gorgeous pieces. Heavy metal, it's great. Your friend that we're doppelgangers. Well, you have more hair than I do, at least, so that's good because I'm bald as fuck. But hey, you seem to be like, she just started popping in the stream. I met her from my co-host and I's show, Blake and Cole Read a Book. Hey, if I'm similar to these cool YouTube people, like bring me into the family. I'm ready to be a part of the group. Like let's do it. But yeah, so this is one of my favorite tiers. I'm really encouraging people to check this out. Everybody loves these variants. My friend actually told me that he was scrolling through and picked this up because of the Recall variant. He's like, I saw that Recall variant and I had to get both. And I was like, fuck yeah, man. I was like, can you like leave that in a comment or something on your Kickstarter? Blake Morgan made me spend extra money. So that's actually like that's the top tier. That's the big kit and caboodle. I like that too. I like that you guys have minimal tiers. I said a joke the other day in a Discord, and actually it wasn't a joke. I actually meant it, but then people told me I was very wrong. I was like, the part of me does want to make a comic one day, and I'm gonna be in an anthology coming up. I got 2 pages in an anthology, and I think that was like writing 2 pages was way harder. I feel like having 5 pages would have been way easier than just 2. And I kept I had like an introductory scene and I kept like paneling things out and doing layouts and basically like, I had to cut the intro, cut the outro, just start right into the madness and then get where I needed to be. And it ended up working. But it was a struggle. And that was my first time really writing a comic book script. But I would, I love Kickstarter. I love this medium, and I would like to do a book one day. And I told someone, I was like, if you ever see me on Kickstarter, there's going to be 4 tiers. There's going to be a digital, there's going to be a cover A, a cover B, and both covers. And fuck you, that's all we're doing. And then it was actually Kevin Joseph. He was like, oh, Blake, come to us before you do that. And I guess like even Kickstarter, when you do it, it like recommends like having at least 7 tiers or something. If
Yeah.
you look at like the Kickstarter how-to stuff. And I was like, 7? Because dude, some people have so much shit. They're like, here's a fucking waifu body pillow. Here's a 3D printed figure. Here's a fucking candle. Here's a chocolate bar. Like there's too much shit going on. And all I ever hear about is how terrible like Kickstarter fulfillment is. And yeah, I just saw this. Well, Blake Northcott is a lot cooler than I am, so that's good. Yeah, you kind of look like her. Or do you write Batman comics or anything for because that'd be cool. I don't know. Like I'll still ride those coattails into the YouTube community. And but yeah, anyways, so yeah, I guess like they want you to give more stuff away. And I guess the idea is like you want to give people the opportunity to support you like over and beyond basically. But it just like sometimes it just gets a little too crazy. And I like that. I like that you guys keep it trim.
I mean, like as Invader, we allow people and the creators to really have a say in what kind of goes into the Kickstarter. Some people really want to do book plates. Some people really want to do, what about 8x10s and just some key art. Like it just sort of depends on what people are feeling and kind of how they want to approach it. I mean, for me, I just want to get the book into everybody's hands as quickly as possible. So waiting on stickers or any of those other things that take additional time, I just want to get the books out there into people's hands as quickly as possible and not necessarily wait for 3 different vendors to ship things to us for us to just ship things to people. But again, there's a lot of value in getting those add-ons, and that's a sort of a large attraction to Kickstarter as well. Again, different creators want to approach it different ways. So
it's like, I mean, I get it. I get that like one of the social media company I work for, they do a lot of stuff for Merc Publishing, and like Merc Publishing has like 20 covers a campaign or something, right? And we're starting to see more of that too, right? It's been like I don't know, neither of these would really work for it. I couldn't see like a unknown caller nudie variant really taking off or making sense, but that's a big trend right now in the Kickstarter community, right? Is these sexy pinups, these sexy variant covers, they're really taking off. They're making a lot of money too, right? But again, it has to kind of make sense. Again, like I don't know where unknown caller would how we would do that.
If it makes sense, it makes sense. But I love what Marco put together, and I love what Mike Nelson put together.
They're great pieces.
I feel very strong about the covers. I don't know that a pinup would help sell these ideas.
You can get that like stag laid out, like just spread eagle, all 10 points on display. What's up, Daniel? Happy to have you. Thanks for tuning in. Daniel says if you have more covers than pages, they paid more than covers in the interiors. Is the book good? That's a really good. I can't think of the word. Insight. That's a thoughtful insight, Daniel. I'm eloquent. I just wrote him a review today, and I know I can write. Can't talk so great though. But yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, when you go all out on these covers, and now sometimes, because I like Charlie Stickney with White Ash, David Byrne with like Jessamy and Steak and stuff, like they've done a lot of covers too, but they also they spent a lot of money. Connor Hughes isn't cheap, Francesca isn't cheap, so like they spend a lot on their interiors. But it does there is a notion of like what are you compensating for, right? Like why is your comic driving this big giant fucking lifted truck that's so loud? What are you trying to make up for? Anyways, these guys don't have that problem though, because Invader makes killer fucking comics, 2 variants. That's all they need. That sells itself, baby.
It's kind of frustrating, with the bigger publishers, when they'll do things like, with the very, very special variants, and they lock those behind a certain paywall of like, you have to order X, and it's like, well, every time you do that, that's money that they can't afford to then take a risk on a smaller publisher or an unknown creator, and especially when they're not going to sell those books, they can return them later. You know, that's not something
Yeah.
that we can really offer comic shops right now.
Yeah.
It's frustrating that it chokes out creativity.
Yeah, totally. Oh, and then there was like, I mean, a lot of people, my friend used to make fun of me and I would like get mad about it. Cause I used to be on this X-Men podcast that I loved. Shout out to X's for Show. They're great people. I miss them. I was a guest on it about a month ago and had a blast. But there, you know, like I was addicted to Marvel store exclusive X-Men covers. I got really into like David Nakayama before Marvel and DC just started paying him directly to do their covers. He would do these store exclusives. And I quickly realized that like, motherfucker, Blake, you do not make enough money to buy these. You're spending $25 an issue on a store exclusive cover. And like, you're helping the store out. So, I mean, you are helping a local comic book shop, but it was an unsustainable addiction. So now I call myself a recovering variant addict, and I've done well for myself. Like I've chilled out on the variants, and but I had a buddy who was just like, well, you put it in a box, what are you going to do with it? And I was like, but I'll know it's in that box. You know, like, and I used to have like, I was like, no, I'm going to make like a wall of like variants and like hang them up and it'll look cool. And I've seen some other YouTubers do it, and then that never happened. They're in a box. And like, so, and then I was like, for a while, I got into like the Virgin store exclusive variants, which were like another $10. Cause like, what's money? Who cares? Right. And it's like, and then I was like, why am I eating Kraft mac and cheese again tonight? Cause that's all you can afford. Cause you bought this set of Hellfire Gala Virgin variants from David Nakayama's store. Anyway, but I love David Nakayama and I've interviewed him before and he was great. But now, you know, it's cool. Cause I found him right when he was making this great art, but you know, he was doing exclusive stuff. And now, like I said, like DC and Marvel are just letting him do regular variants. And so it's awesome now because you can go snag one for $4 or $5 instead of the 25 that it used to cost back in the day. But yeah, it's you know, a lot of people have a lot to say about variants. You know, like they a lot of people say like they flood the market, they fuck with everything, they ruin it. It makes like speculators' lives easier and better somehow. I don't know how that really works, but I don't want speculators' lives to be easier and better because I just think they're dirty, slimy little slugs, and they need to quit ripping people off for comic books. That's beyond what we're here to talk about tonight. We're here to talk about Invader and how they don't do any of these shady practices. They just do whatever they can to put good comics in the hands of fans.
Yeah, we definitely don't want people buying our books and bagging them and boarding them and not reading them. You know, these books are made.
It's a waste. Yeah, especially when you guys are putting out the good stuff you guys are. It deserves to be. It needs to be read. And you know, again, I don't want to like kiss Kevin's ass too much. You know, and I know he doesn't do a lot of interviews, so I want to make a good impression too, but he's writing these books that I haven't experienced anything like that I've read. Like Recall, when I first read Recall, I won't lie, when I first read Recall, I loved the art and like some of the like the in and out photorealistic elements of it, and I love aliens and I love how it plays with memory. And I also like thinking about it more, I came to appreciate that it was a silent comic because like one of the first things our memory depletes is dialogue that we hear. And so when you're playing with a narrative that's playing with memory, you know, one of the first fallacies in those is how we recall what was actually said. This is how many couples have split because of this, you know, this issue, this, you know, like, and I never said that. Yes, you did, you know, and like, we just don't remember our minds can't retain that information. That I read an article a while back that's why e-dating can get dangerous and so many people can get taken advantage of from like scammer accounts, because when you begin a text-based relationship, your mind it remembers it better, but you can also go back and read old messages and see exactly what was said. And that's how you get like transfixed, and how you can like in a sense fall for people that you've never actually met, that you don't necessarily know whether or not you have chemistry for. And these scammers that like make fake profiles and ask for money and stuff, like that's how they like take advantage of lonely people. And that was like so interesting to me. But again, like going back to this, it's so smart to like leave the dialogue out of it. It's interesting how that came to be, just how you were worried about your own proficiency as a writer, which I think you need to fucking throw that shit out the window, baby.
Well,
'cause I
but
think
it
you're on a
also
roll.
like the text started to make less and less sense as the pages were coming in,
Okay.
as like the repetition of action was occurring. So it just felt like it was getting in the way
Okay.
of what the story was being told. Because you're right, like with the dreams, like I rarely remember like sounds or things that are said. It's mostly just actions and sort of experiences, especially like it's just like, oh, you know, when you're tracking a dream, it's just like, oh, we did this and then this happened and this happened. And it's sort of just like very, just like focused on the narrative. There's not, I don't, the way that I remember dreams, I don't remember like sounds or conversations. It's just like the experience as as a sort of like a whole. And that sort of like dreamlike nature is like pretty essential to the recall plot. And so just keeping it in this sort of like very, kind of like what the fuck is happening, and again like with the repetition of the story, like more and more gets revealed the deeper you get into the book, so you don't necessarily need to underscore things because people are seeing it over and over again.
Nice. I do apologize. I forgot to post the link when I was showing off the Kickstarter page. So the link is in the comments. Like, please click this link. Go check this out. This comic's really worth your time. And I encourage you, whether digital, whether physically, whether you get the variant covers or not, really, really please consider that Kevin Miller 2-pack. Because you guys are going to get some comics that are gonna just impress the ever living shit out of you, and it's not gonna be like what you've read, and that's why I loved this company. That's why I loved this company before I started working for them. That's why I continue to love them now. That's why if they fire me tomorrow, I'll probably still read their comics once I get done crying into my pillow. They make great books, and they really care about the readers. They really do. They want to connect with them. They want to make things for them. That they want to make things for themselves and for the audience, that they can have this great interconnectivity and make that kind of comic book magic. Well, and I believe that about this company.
But I think that also what's like really like what I would say is what sort of makes us stand out a little bit is that we're all creators first. And like Mike and Keith have like sort of figured out the mechanism to sort of get comic books in stores. Like, it's very challenging as an individual to get into Diamond and get their people's books listed. So just having that access and being able to sort of like share that with the people who we collaborate with, I think is like really special, because like we are indie creators. We cannot put out more than 1 or 2 books a year, but we have this pipeline, this funnel that we can, like, books that pop out at us or like things that get submitted. Like, we really want to sort of like use the infrastructure that we have in place to support the work of people that we either find on social media or sort of submit to us through our site. Like, that's really, really exciting for us to sort of see something sort of come to fruition. And Mike says this all the time, like a rising tide lifts all ships. So they were really sort of like happy to leverage the infrastructure to bring books that we believe in to life, either through Kickstarter or put them on Diamond. Like, that's really exciting for us.
And like we were saying on Explain Yourself on Friday, like once I found myself in a position where I had just kind of wedged my foot in that door and got it open, I wanted to make sure I could usher through as many people that I thought had, books that were at least as good as my own.
Yeah. Through
that same door. That it seemed kind of evil not to do that.
Like when you meet your friends at the back of the movie theater and you open up the fire escape and let them.
Okay, sure.
No, but I do. And again, like that, I will keep an eye out on like the socials. I'll dig up that link from Friday night show and give you guys the link to go back and watch that. It was a really great. Mike did a really great job on that show, and there were some other great guests on there as well with some cool books to check out. But like, again, like Mike got me. Like, I was all in my fucking comic feels, man. I was like, yeah, like fuck Diamond. Indie forever, keep print alive. Oh my god, like I got like goosebumps listening to this guy talk. Like it was fucking Zach De La Rocha on the stage saying, you know, damn the man, save the empire, right? And I was like, he didn't say that. That's from a movie. I just combined two multimedia sources that made no sense. But Mike did a really good job, like on explain yourself. And I think not only did he say a lot of great things about what's great about indie comics, he said a lot of great things about what's great about Invader Comics specifically and what sets them apart. I don't know if you guys know, this is 2 of the 3 owners of Invader. That's it. They brought me on to help, like to hype stuff, because they're too busy to like help with like social media presence, and you know, I'm the annoying guy. Like people know that. Like I talk a lot. I can make pretty pictures that make people want to buy comics. People know this now. And so, you know, like, but it's 3 guys, and they're the deciders, they're the creators, they're the editors, you know, like they do it all. And it's that's so punk rock. Like it's like, you know, it reminds me of like how Apple started like out of a garage, you know, like how these big things that like you never seem small, right? They just always seem huge, but you got to remember that they start somewhere. And that surprised me, like the more I got to know about you guys, because you guys put out quality books, and you guys do, it's usually a campaign a month, right? And that's a lot. That's a lot. And like and so for just 3 guys to do that, it's so impressive, and just like I'm so proud and excited, and like to like work.
But that also goes back to what we were talking about before we went live. It's just like the things that you are passionate about, you typically like rise to sort of like bring your best self forward.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important, because this is such a, like, it's a fun place to play and a fun place to create. And it's just like the environment of comics, specifically indie comics, is such a typically a warm and loving place. And it's kind of like, there's just such amazing storytelling, and it just really gets me excited to just see what's going on and out there. Like I often find myself having a drink on a Friday night and like just going through Kickstarter and just like funding things that were, you know, supporting things that just look really cool, and I have like zero sort of like understanding beyond. Yeah, exactly. But it's just like there's so much awesome stuff out there, and I'm just like so excited to get it when I see it, and
especially in a landscape that we have right now, where, man, like with regard to media, shit is just getting flooded. Just absolutely flooded. So like, oh great, Netflix has 50 shows that are brand new this year. How many of them are worth a damn? Or how many of them are worth a damn for 2 or 3 seasons?
Yeah.
Or even last that long if they are worth it.
Right. And then I feel like Netflix finds out what we like and cancels it, and then laughs at us as they raise their fee $2 a year or whatever. Motherfuckers. Anyway, sorry. That's
no, just
we still subscribe as a family. It's fine. You can't get rid of it now, but it I feel like every time I get into a cool show, man, it's like it's gone the next year for some reason.
I mean, I think that we both do what we do for very similar reasons. It's real fucking fun to find something that awakens something and that you love, and then to tell the world about it. And we're in a really lucky position where we not only get to help that happen, but we maybe get to help to make it even a little bit better before it comes out. Just giving it that little 10% of polish that can, you know, make it a B+ into an A, that will give it its best foot forward for when it actually does show up. And you saying that that's punk rock that we're doing with 3 guys, that's great, man. Because, you know, Keith, the other dude, he and I always talked about that. We're both music guys.
Yeah.
We wanted to run this like the cool punk small labels that we would, you know, go and have to send mail away for back in the day. Then we would end up with a band that's like, holy shit, this is like my favorite band. And I might have never even heard them before. Like I came on a big, just like you're saying on Kickstarter. If you hadn't been having a drink on Friday night and you stumble across a book, you might have just never even heard of it. It could just go away. That could be it. It's on Kickstarter for a second, then up and disappears like a fart in the wind. That's criminal.
Yeah. we got so I feel like my not doppelganger, the Blake Northcott doppelganger, Blake Northcott's much prettier than I am. That makes sense. And also a better writer. But yeah, she's K-pop's into this, loves finding the weird, creepy stuff. Hey, keep an eye on Invader. Like if you like weird, creepy, and off the wall, like these guys are gonna scratch all your itches.
We have some
weird way.
we have some fun stuff coming up after Unknown Caller. Mike, do you want to sort of give a little bit of a rundown of the next couple months?
Yeah, well, I mean, first I just want to remind that like we try to put up all of our the previous books that we published, whatever we have left in our stock, because we do, you know, smaller print runs as add-ons available. So like you want weird, creepy stuff, check out Ravage. That's really, really weird and creepy, and you can get that as at a discount from an add-on in the Kickstarter. Coming up, we do have a lot of fun stuff for the rest of the year. Maglev is going to be in next month's previews catalog, and we will bring it to Kickstarter at the same time in July. That's the first book that Adam Cahoon did. He's currently working on the Nasty for Vault.
Yeah.
He put this together a couple of years ago, and he was actually a local to where I live here in Oakland. And we got together and he showed it to me. And so we're going to be having that out in July and finish stores in September. After that, we're actually going to be having a throwback month where we're going to be bringing two books that we previously published at 215 Inc., Vic Boone and Enormous.
Yes. I'm so
Both
excited.
these back in preparation for even more content coming. So we're going to re-release the old stuff with some new covers, and then dive right into some new storylines from both of those that are old favorites around here.
Yeah.
We've also got a unique one called Neurocron that maybe Kevin can speak to a little bit better, because that actually came from one of your connections. But
yeah, so Neurocron is by Dan Powell, and he has been an EP on things like the Amy Schumer show, and he did Ugly Americans for Comedy Central, and then he currently or just finished working on I think You Can Leave Now, the Tim Robinson show.
About to come back
so
too, right?
Yeah, it just dropped last or this week on Netflix.
Oh, it did? We got to wrap
great,
up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, we got an emergency.
It's a great sketch series, but Neurocron is sort of like a Blade Runner-esque like detective novel, takes place in a dystopian sort of future. This is, I think, his second comic book, but we're really excited to sort of bring him in the fold. He's a super talented writer, very funny guy, and he's sort of flexing his muscles in a little bit of a different way here.
Cool.
So we're very excited to hopefully bring that out in September. So that's kind of like the near future lineup for us. But
sounds like a summer of fucking awesome to me, gentlemen.
It's going to be great. We're really excited about the work that's coming out this year. I feel like Invader, this is sort of, I guess, a year and a half in, right, Mike? Like yeah. we rebranded from 215 Inc. We kicked off with the Kickstarter of Dr. Crow in 2020. Holy shit. Is it 2021?
It was October.
Yeah, that's October.
January. So we officially started in January of 2022.
Wow.
Yeah. So this has been a really exciting endeavor with the rebrand and sort of like moving forward with a slightly tweaked business model. But yeah, no, we've been really consistent in trying to bring a book out a month, which is a little bit crazy. And we're sort of like plotting. It's so weird to think that we're like already sort of like thinking through like the titles that we're going to put out in 2024, which is absolutely bonkers, but like really kind of like fun to sort of think about. I don't know. I don't think we were live yet, but we were also talking about before the show, like how long it actually takes to create a book. Like, we're talking to creators now about books that are not dropping until the end of next year, which is so fucking insane because we really, because comics take so long to make, we want to really make sure that all the pages are done before we bring it to market. So Back to Fairytalia, which launched this, well, I guess last year at this point, we have had 6 issues of it come out, but like, we really want to make sure that like there's consistency with the delivery of our floppies. So we want to make sure that all of the art is done, all the story is sort of complete before we even launch something. So it just can sort of roll out. So there's not huge delays in the storytelling, because it's really important for the consistency to continue to sort of like bring people back to the table. And also for us, it's like the consistency of like making sure that somebody completes the story. I think that's really, really important. And I think that's sort of like the contract that we have with our audience, is that we're gonna complete the cycle. And we're doing a lot of releases of kind of like a mixture of original graphic novels, but then we'll release a series of issues, and Neurocron's a 4-issue series. Back to Fairytalia was a 6-issue series. Yep. So we're really, really excited about that.
Not that we haven't played with longer periods in between books, because some, like with Three Protectors, for instance, that's a 80-page book that we sell as that first volume, and then another 80 pages will come out, but like maybe not for. But
it's not like we're not just giving like 24 pages without sort of like fulfilling the I personally, like the way that I sort of read comics, I'm like, I need to have the full story. I'm not a patient person. I can't like wait between months, or sometimes I just like lose the thread. But to me, like collected editions or original graphic novels, like typically are the way that I consume comics, because I want the full story. I'm like greedy. I'm
with you.
That like sort of
I still haven't watched one episode of the 3rd season of Ted Lasso, because I was waiting till it was all out.
Oh my God.
You want to talk about
I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait.
I can tell you about discipline.
Yeah, that's fucking hardcore, dude. Because that right now, that's one of my. I'm so sad. Like today's the last one, and I haven't watched it. Like, but like Wednesdays, everybody's like new comic book day. I'm like, whatever, buy your comics. It's fucking Ted Lasso day. I think I guys got you. I got you guys a new fan. She says one of the favorite things she bought was $1, and it's about a monster in some guy's pants. And so she's like all about K-pop's all about your guys' vibe. She followed you on Kickstarter, won me over with the revenge genre Asian cinema supernatural twist. Yeah, when I messaged Mike and I was like, Mike, I'm trying to think of an easy way to describe Kevin's comic, because I don't have the cinematic knowledge to know what he's fucking talking about with this trilogy. And I was like, I know it's not technically like John Wick level murder fest. It's going, it's like it's there a little bit, but I was like to say like it's John Wick makes Sixth Sense, and Mike was like, yeah, that's kind of what we're going with, and I was like, great minds. But no, I wanted to ask, like, dude, Kevin, fill us in, because so my Asian cinema, what I know about, and this is loose, like don't ask me a lot of questions because you'll find out I'm dumb. But like horror, like I love foreign horror, right? And I part of the reason why I love it is because you usually have to read the subtitles. When you watch a movie with subtitles, you can't play on your phone, and that's like a big discipline. Like I'm so, especially now with all I do, like for you guys and the show and Blake's Buzz and stuff, I'm always on my fucking phone. I hate that about myself so much. It's like I mean, I don't hate it. It's a necessary evil, but I'm always on my phone. And I'm bad about that when I watch movies or even Ted Lasso. Like I'll every now and then I'll have to be like, I got to rewind this for like 5 minutes because I've been like fucking around on Twitter. Right. And, but anyways, I love foreign horror and like Asian and Korean horror. Like there's a lot of great Korean horror movies. Then they're fucking weird and creepy. And again, like you're reading these subtitles and you're much more absorbed in it, and also like the jump scares hit a little harder, I think, when you're reading the subtitles, right? Because you're just you're yeah. And so but like, can you explain to us what this trilogy is that you've based Unknown Caller on?
Park Chan-wook directed. It's like called the Revenge Trilogy. It's Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. It's Old Boy, and then it's Lady Vengeance. And they're kind of just these like they're calling them a trilogy. It's just like exploring the same genre. They're not like interconnected, but it's just like sort of like exploring revenge and sort of like the spiral that people sort of go to just when they're just singularly focused on sort of getting the I guess a violent gratification, which and typically in these films they end up pretty fucking empty afterwards, and it's not as satisfying as they sort of initially planned on, where it just becomes like the experience is more grueling and people just come back so much more damaged. And so I don't know, just sort of exploring that theme was really sort of interesting, of like how like revenge, or the idea of revenge, like where it seems like it will be so gratifying, just sort of like adds an additional layer of torment and it just like puts you in a bleaker place by the end of it, based on this just like singular idea that's driving you, where you're just missing so much of the world around you. I just think that they're really awesome, but I also haven't seen them in a long time. Like I feel like the inspiration for these things, like for the books that I write, like it's like things that I like sort of like half remember. It sort of like works out best, where you're just like, I'm like thinking about this thing where it's just like, it becomes like, oh, I'm telling the story to myself. And then I'm filling in the gaps of the things that I've like forgotten about. I'm like, oh, I kind of like remember that it's like kind of like flows like this. And I'm like making the connections myself, because I'm like, oh, I totally forgot about that part. Yeah. But I feel like this part's like a little bit more interesting. And that's where I kind of like find some of my inspiration for my stories. It's just like, oh, I've just like totally misremembered something, and I've just ended up putting my own take on it. And Recall sort of like came together very similarly, where I like half remembered like the Betty and Barney Hill story, and I'm just like, oh, this is in my head what I think it is, and then I'll like go like write the thing, and then I'll research it afterwards, which is the sort of like kind of the reverse process, where it's just like, oh, yeah, this is totally different than how I remember it, but I like kind of like these pieces, and then I will sort of like expand upon that from there and kind of like make it sort of fit differently.
This is like my love life, when I'm like, man, I miss my ex-girlfriend. She was perfect. Everything was so I was so happy then. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I misremembered this situation.
I totally misremembered it, and sometimes it works out for the better. Sometimes it's
it's a double. Also, like K-pop, you and K-pop are like on a level here, guys. Like, wait, we've Schmidt's Man from Nowhere Meets Phone. That's what she's feeling for Unknown Caller. I Saw the Devil. That's such a good movie.
That movie is so great.
And she said they made more than the original 3 Vengeance films. So apparently you got some more homework you can go to.
I got some more movies to watch, and I'm super excited.
Another indie comic creator, Sandra Landauer, in the house. Sarah, it's good to have you in. We got most of her big inspirations as a writer are also things she's watched or read a long time ago. Lots of distance. I think it helps. Again, sometimes.
Yeah.
No. The seed of that inspiration it's like planted in you, and then it grows into something new, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. With the inspiration behind those movies, if you've seen his movies, they're, again, I think I would mention this a little bit on Explain Yourself, where it's like so many movies today are full of filler. You know, you need to get character from A to B, so you send out a B team to go shoot him walking from here or doing this. All of that should be art. Every single frame should be a painting. And there's a very, very cinematic, highly cinematic, you know, distorted from reality, painterly quality to those films, and that absolutely comes through in your work, Kevin.
Yes.
And the fact that you are able to, I mean, you're also picking artists who very much have that same strength, but I've seen your scripts and I know how it is what you are describing to them that is bridging that gap as well. It's not just them, it is something that you are imbuing in your work, and it is coming through.
Yeah, I mean, the importance of like finding the right collaborator, I think, is super paramount. Like that is sort of like the hardest. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, writing is obviously very challenging, but like finding somebody that you connect with, and who can help sort of like bring your vision to life it takes a lot of work and a lot of digging and a lot of time. Yeah. I mean, I found
you're 2 for 2,
through,
baby. Though,
through,
like I
through,
like
through,
you're going
social
media.
media.
1,000.
I was very lucky with Daniel. I reached out to a friend of a friend who politely declined, and he pointed me to Daniel. And I was just like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, that's the guy that I would like to work with. Marco was definitely some trial and error. And also, like creating a comics is like a huge. It's an investment of time, money, and like collaborative connection. Like you're spending a lot of time with this person. And Marco is he's an Italian illustrator, and was like so lovely. Even though there was a language barrier to kind of like deal with, he was just so awesome and patient with me, to like making sure that like we were both very clear about how the pages were coming together. And I really appreciate his patience with me, because I was definitely spending a lot of time frame fucking a lot of what he was doing.
I'm pulling up. I'm posting your guys' socials for the comments. Man, I think it's just Invader Comics on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Kigo Miller is Kevin, by the way.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you care. I'm Blake's Buzz. I'm just here. I'm not Blake Northcott. I'm just Blake's Buzz, but that's fine.
They're here for the show. They know who you are.
Feel free to follow me on Instagram at Mike D. Perkins, but you're going to see a lot of cars and
Mike. I don't know if I even follow you. I didn't know Mike.
A lot of plants.
Twitter is his preferred. He likes to fight with words versus pictures.
I guess I do follow you. I just didn't know. I just
don't post a lot.
That's what it is. All right.
It's pretty much pictures of my dog, of flowers, of cars, and comics.
Okay, that's all. That's me. I'm sold. I already am following you. Yeah. For a long time ago, someone told me that my Twitter was like 3 of the best things. They were like, you just post food, your dogs, and comic books, and I fucking love it. And I was like, well, cool, like, because Bruce is a lot cuter than I am, so I'm gonna post a lot of pictures of it. It's so aggravating, like when you try hard to make a cool short video, right? Whether for like a client or for you guys, or like when I made the unknown caller, everybody loved that fucking unknown caller kind of like throwback 80s trailer thing I made. And it was like, I like just stumbled across, because you got to pick the music that like YouTube won't take away. So you're like real limited to like the music and stuff you can use. And I was like, oh man, this is cool. And there's a bit at the comic where he's like driving to get his revenge, and the whole deal like we started doing of like revenge is coming, right? And I was like, oh, this works. And a couple people were like, dude, I love that like retro trailer thing you made. And it like people liked it, but it's not like it went viral. It's not like it's not like I got a 5K view on YouTube or something, right? And then I fucking like post a video of like Bruce dreaming, and it gets like 2,000 views, and like and I'm just like, man, maybe I should start doing like take pictures of him when he's napping and just set a book next to him and like take a picture. Like
that's what we're gonna do in Invader. It'll just be daily dog photo. Here's Olive.
But yeah, it's I can't say how excited I am. Like, I'm not excited to read it anymore because, that sounds rude. I'm excited to read it again, but I've gotten to read it already. What I'm excited for, I'm a man of words. What I'm excited for is for more people to read it, for people to get this comic, and hopefully to get it to some reviewers and have them be blown away by it too. Because it just does. It produces like it gives you that comic wow factor that you don't get much anymore, or you get it, but it's few and far between, right? Like I'm a slut for Big Two. I love it. I love the new Captain America. Like I bought a couple new Star Wars omnibuses. Like I'm a basic bitch. Like when comics are concerned, but I do also see the appeal of indie and how different and varied and experimental they can be. And again, like you can't get a better example of that, in my opinion, right now at this current moment in time than Kevin Miller's Unknown Caller and Recall. Like Recall, especially like Unknown Caller is like it's a little easier to follow. Like Recall is a book where the creators aren't afraid to challenge their readers, and I fucking love that. I love being challenged as a person and making me think differently about memory, about how I remember my past, about the difference between dreams and reality and how they blend sometimes, and then the confusion that brings those elements together, right? And that's such a powerful graphic novel, and it's I read it twice. When I first read it, I read it twice. I read it the first time and I was like, I thought, I had some ideas, and then I wasn't sure. And I turned it right around and went back and read it again. And then, a little slower, a little, cause it's paced well, right? It's very easy to turn the pages and there's no dialogue, right? So it's just like, you're absorbing the art in these character situations and cruising. And then I went back and I was just like, and then the second time I was just like, wow, I was just like, the mind is such a fascinating but fallible tool. And this narrative really, really showcases that, and has fucking aliens and creepy racist people. And like, it's got a lot of like things that are really scary and really troublesome and the big unknown factors. Right. And it just does that really well. And so like, yeah, if this is what you're laying out, Kevin, if this is the sauce you're bringing to the pasta party, I'm fucking ready for seconds, baby. Actually, I guess I'm ready for thirds because I got my second bowl, right? So I'm ready for the third serving, man. Like get those notions out of your head. I know imposter syndrome is real, and I know being hypercritical of the script or our own writing, I'm right there with you. But like as a comic book reviewer, as a comic book consumer, as a massive comic book nerd who adores this medium, you're writing great books, and just keep doing it. And you guys as a company are making great books, and keep fucking doing it. And your publicist is awesome. Like he's a good dude who's just excited and passionate about comic. Like what better fit could you have found for? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, you guys you guys are all great dudes. You're so fun to talk to. Kevin, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't do a lot of interviews and was a little bit nervous, but watched a couple interviews I did and thought I would be the good one to bust his fucking cherry, right? And like, God bless you, bud. No, but you're super easy to talk to. You're very eloquent. You know how to talk about writing. You know how to talk about your stories, and you know how to pitch your comics. And you're not a fucking stone wall, man. I haven't had to like coax shit out of you, man. You've been ready to talk, ready to explore, ready to dive in. So, I mean, again, a lot of these worries you have, or I think are just all in here, bud. And you're doing a lot of great things, and I'm excited to see like what you bring to the table in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate being able to come on and talk about the book and talk about Invader and just talk comics, man. It's super awesome.
Right? That's one of the best parts. Like I have a lot of great friends, and they're basically like family. The friends I've had have been family for a long time. And we watch Chiefs games together. We have movie nights, we have dinner nights and stuff. But my real life friends, they watch the show sometimes and dig it and support me, but no one reads comics. And so like all this started, man. I used to be on Twitter. I used to do these one tweet reviews, and I was just like, wanted to find people to talk comic books with. And then I ended up making all these cool connections on Twitter. And I mean, this is like back when I had like 300 followers, not like 5,300 followers, you know, this was like years ago. And I just was like, just found some cool people to talk comics with, you know. Now I'm in a couple Discords. Now I'm working as Comics Press. Like, and it's just, I love this. Like, I get stressed, I get overwhelmed, and I get tired and cranky sometimes. But like, when this mic goes hot and this goes live, all of that shit goes away, and my excitement is real. Like, it just like it comes out naturally because it's there, and I love this medium, and I adore it, and I love what it has to offer. And unfortunately, the more I find out about it, I hate how it treats a lot of its creators. I think it has a lot of problems and a lot of things that can do better. That's another reason why I like your guys' business model, and I like the fucking jams that you guys are putting out. Right? Is, you know, you're very much like supportive of the little guy and believing in people and taking risks on people. That's another reason why I think Invader is really great. And you guys, I mean, all you guys, like, you know, you're just doing a damn good job, guys. I really wish Keith was here so I could include Keith on and just, you know, all three of you guys are just doing a damn good job. It's Keith's wife's birthday. He's married with a family and shit. He's got important shit to do, not Blake's buzz. It's fine. I get it. No, it's fine. But no, for real, man, it's an honor to work with you guys and get to know you guys. And I love you. I love your books. I just fucking love your books. And I really hope my excitement goes out through the Google Fiber into the internet and infects other people and makes the invasion stronger, bigger, better, harder.
It's working on
We hope so.
I mean, if you look back through our catalog, you'll see books from some pretty big creators. You know, creators who have gone on to some pretty big stuff, but you'll also see books from creators who have, you know, no social following or whatever, because we choose our books, just like I was saying on Friday, based on what excites us, what gives us that feeling. That's if that's not there, we're not going to put it out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love that about Friday. Oh, sorry, Kevin.
It's amazing to be able to like look at and read submissions and just be like, oh man, like there's a nugget of an idea here that once like sort of like fully realized is going to be something incredible. And just like stumbling upon artists or like meeting writers, or it's a really interesting organic experience. Like none of the stuff is really planned besides publishing, you know, a book of Mike's or mine or Keith's a year. Like that's just like generally the plan. And then there's like, holy shit, there's like
the rest is fill in.
That's awesome. nine other months to sort of like fill. And so it like really encourages us to sort of like see what else is out there and who else is out there and who wants to collaborate and you know, who is doing sort of cool, interesting stuff that we're drawn to. And even if there's like not an audience for it and we like it, we're just like, fuck it, let's put it on the slate.
Yeah. Let's party. Do you guys get a lot of submissions? Like, I mean, do you have, is there a lot of like sludge pile and stuff you guys gotta work through?
Well, I don't, nothing's a sludge pile.
I'm sorry, that's what we called it when I worked on a literary magazine. And so like whether it was good or not, like when all the submissions are in and everybody gets that printed out like 400-page stack of short stories and poetry, like we called that the sludge pile.
I don't
doesn't mean it's sludge.
I don't know that we're getting a lot of like sludge. I think we're getting a lot of things that are like unpolished, and it's whether or not we're sort of like, you know, we have full-time jobs, like, and we do this as a part of our passion. It's like, how much time do we have to devote to something, and how much time do we have to polish it? And, you know, if it's something new and different and exciting, you know, Mike ends up spending a lot of time working with those creators, and sort of like trying to bring it to life. But yeah, no, I mean, some stuff is a little bit more ready-made, and, you know, unfortunately we're not able to sort of like do everything because, again, we're only three people.
Do you guys ever have like a three-way brawl where like everybody has a different opinion on like a submission? And like one of you like it and two of you aren't sure about it, and or one of you likes it, one of you's unsure, and one of them's like, I don't think this is for us, and
It's-
and obviously you're still friends and working together, but does that tension ever present itself when you guys are talking about bringing on new people?
I don't think so. I mean, we normally just talk it out, and people are. I'm swayed either way. Typically, Keith and Mike have a little bit more stringent opinions about these things. But if it's just like something that even has like a sort of like inkling of like, hey, we've never seen that, or that's like a really different approach. That's sort of like we all sort of have similar sensibilities. So it's just sort of like not so much of a fight. It's about like, okay, do we have a take on this that will sort of help elevate it?
Okay.
Or like, is this ready made? Or like and sometimes we don't have it's like something that's super awesome and we don't have a take on it that can sort of like help elevate it, or like we don't think that we're not the right people to sort of like take this on. Like,
Okay.
I think those are more of the conversations where it's just like, oh man, this is so awesome, but like there's either maybe some inconsistencies in the art, or like there are inconsistencies in the storytelling. And Mike will typically reach out to those people and just say like, hey, this is like kind of what we're thinking. Are you cool with that? Do you want to travel with us? And some people will politely decline. And but we have to have some sort of we like to have a guiding hand in some of these things, especially if they're not like fully baked.
Nice. I won't call out any names, but someone did actually say this exact same thing to me today when they saw that you guys were coming on the show, and they said, I pitched them a couple times and it didn't work, but they are one of the few publishers that like in a timely response, let me know yes or no, and let me know why, and gave me like feedback on top of it. And they said that's so rare in this industry. And like, so it was like what we call, when I was sending out short stories and poetry to get published. So what we call like positive rejections, right? When you get like the form rejection letter back, but the editor writes a note on it. That's like I got one back from the Missouri Review one time that was like, Blake, this is pretty good poetry, just not for us right now. And like, and so like they said that about you guys, and just to the kindness and how they appreciated the feedback, the thought, and just giving them something other than like a no, or just fucking ghosting them, which is seems to be the new industry standard of like, if you don't hear from us, it's a no, that's kind of messed up. But I thought that was really cool for someone to say about you guys.
We appreciate it, and we really do try. But I mean, there are definitely times when we ghost just because we have open submissions all the time. So we just can't respond to everybody, especially with that. But if there's when we find somebody like that, even if it is a no, that's because we really like what you're doing. This particular project wasn't a fit, but we really like what you're doing and we want to see more. We want to encourage that. Just because this project wasn't the right one, maybe your next one is.
That's true. That is true. You're going back. I'm slacking on the comments. Cole said it earlier and I didn't post it because, like he said, I'm bad at YouTube comments. But K-pop says we're all spazzy nerds with no need to be nervous. Which is true. Really agree with what Sarah Landauer is saying here in the chat. I'm so cool, and I know a lot of cool people. Makes sense. My excitement is infectious. Thank you for noticing. And then not where their minds went when I said three-way. I heard it in my mind after I said it. I did. I really did. We had a couple people ask us if we take submissions at the last con we went to, and just thought so intimidating as a small team with full-time job. But that's cool though. Like Sarah's also a comic book creator, and they're making cool stuff. And I believe there's a new issue coming soon. Maybe say something in the chat unless I'm talking. I don't know. Or did I already? I'm gonna feel like shit if I missed it. She'd be like, yeah, we did that last month, and I'll be that asshole. No, but this is my first hearing about Invader. Awesome. No, that's one of the things.
That's the point
that I wanted to bring to the table is I pitched this when we had our meeting about bringing me onto the team, and I said, you guys are doing a lot of cool stuff, but I think you need to do a little bit more media, and I think we need to get your guys' faces like on a live stream, on some interviews, and like get you guys out there, and like because you guys you're good on a mic. Like I'll let you know, like you're great to talk to, and your passion rings through, and you know this industry really well. And so when you guys start talking, it is very fun to listen to. Whereas I just ramble and say funny things sometimes. But yeah, that was one of my things, K-pop, was I was like, I want to get you guys on camera. Like I want to get you guys out there. I want people to see who Invader is. Like, oh, it's just 3 guys. Oh, and these 3 guys are pretty fucking cool. And like Keith is awesome too. And like Keith has a comics making podcast, and he plays music, and he's a big nerd. And like he's just like these guys are just good dudes, and they're excited about comics. So yeah, I'm hopefully we're gonna do more of this, unless like we get out of the stream and Kevin's like, never again, Blake. What the hell? He could go. The silent. Yeah, I've seen Daniel talk about this a lot. The silent no, like at least like a formal rejection, even like the same letter you send to everybody. You have your fucking editor sign it, and well, I guess you don't do that. We do emails now. I just dated myself back when I was trying to get published, and you sent a 15-page short story in an envelope with a self-addressed stamped envelope, and then they sent you like a little tiny card back. And it was signed by the editor, and they were like, nah. Yeah, that was how it was when I was in college forever ago, before electric cars and Trump. Anyways, what the fuck, Blake? Yeah, we're in production, right? Awesome, cool. Yeah, thanks. But yeah, Sarah, follow Sarah. She's awesome, people. Or maybe not. Did she get off social media? She mentioned that earlier. I don't know. Again, did I mention I'm bad with the comments? Anyways, guys,
good luck with your project, Sarah.
Guys, I've kept you for an hour and a half. It doesn't feel that long at all. Time just flew by. Again, Kevin, you did a great job. Not just on this interview, but on your comic making. You're a really good writer, man. I like, for real. I can't even imagine what it's like to write a totally silent issue and to edit it into that, to take your script and say no and let the art shine like you did. And I don't know, man, like maybe one day we can have another talk and really dive into that, because I have like a million fucking questions, and I'm not going to drop that on you in an hour and 30. But I do for real. Like, and I'm not just saying this to my boss. I'm saying this to a comic book creator, and I'm saying this to our viewers. Recall and Unknown Caller are fucking magical entities in the indie comic medium. They'll make you a little bit uncomfortable. They'll make you a little bit excited. They'll make you a little bit scared. And they play with your emotions like great genre fiction should. And there's some noir, psychotic, cerebral elements to all of these. And they just really shine through. And it's not like the shit that you're getting on the shelves right now. Like even from like Image and stuff. Like this is some standout, experimental, great indie comic storytelling. And it's right there, ready for you guys on Kickstarter right now. I posted the link earlier in the comics. You guys can go. You can back it now. Again, get that 2-pack. I don't care if you get the variants. I don't care if you go digital. I don't care what level you get. Just get that Kevin Miller 2-pack. Get it in your life so that you can experiment it and know what the fuck I'm talking about. Because it's so crazy, so crazy. And I wish more people had the guts to tell these kinds of stories. And I wish more publishers had the guts to publish these kinds of stories. And again, that's why I love Invader Comics. That's why I'm proud to work with these guys. And that's why I had a great fucking time chatting with these guys tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, like we posted their socials in there. You give them a follow, follow them on Kickstarter, check out these campaigns. Guys, the polite podcast host that I am, and I am, say what you want about me. I'm polite sometimes, but this is the part where, like, where is the, like, I don't know if you guys have newsletters. I don't know if Invader has a newsletter. I know there's a press list, but I don't, where's the best place to find stuff about you guys and Invader? Like, let us know.
So we have our website, invader.com. That's a great place to start. You can subscribe to our newsletter there. It is infrequent, but we're trying to get better. But obviously follow us on social media, Instagram and Twitter. Our social media accounts are pretty active. But yeah, I mean, I think just sort of following us on the social platforms is a great place to start. And you can take a look at our back catalog on our website. And Mike, what do you have to push?
Yeah, that's the best is really on social. I mean, obviously, if you back any of our Kickstarters, you're going to get endless emails every time that we launch another one, which is every month.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
Yeah.
Not just you guys, just everybody. Like,
I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. But I mean,
no, there's not.
it is a great way to know what's coming out because nearly all of our books we put in previews and Kickstarter at the same time.
Yeah.
There are a few that we do a special either Kickstarter only or Diamond only. The Diamond only is usually more for ongoing series. We'll do the first issue in Kickstarter, and then the rest of it is just previews. But yeah, the social is the best place to keep on track with everything we're doing.
Nice. Maybe follow Blake's Buzz too. He
Blake will tell you.
Yeah. He might have some stuff to do with their social media presence and all that good. Again, I'm very, very lucky. I'm so. These guys came to me at a point where it was like maybe we go to work at Taco Bell for a month while we find a real job. I wouldn't go to work at Taco Bell. I'd find something else to do. But I was almost on Fiverr. I was about to start doing freelance stuff. Like I ran out of time basically. Like it came to this point where it was like, well, we tried and it didn't happen, and now we're out of money and we need to go get a job, right? And Mike hit me up on Twitter, and he was Mike saw this post I made where I was like, I would love to be I think being a comic book publicist press guy would just be amazing. And I feel like I'm naturally good at it. I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at writing emails. I'm good at I can write press releases. I can do all this stuff. I just feel like a lot of things I do naturally for Blake's Buzz would coincide with this. And Mike like quoted the tweet and sent it to me. And he was like, so you want to be a publicist? And I was like, yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. And he was like, you want to try with Invader? And I was like, I fucking like threw my phone. I was like, what the fuck? No, like, I mean, like at the exact, so serendipitous at the exact perfect time. And then after that, like when I announced I was working for them, I got all these other opportunities. Like I am indebted to you guys like forever. You guys, like, I don't want to get like emotional or anything, but I'm kind of am like, you guys changed my fucking life. Like you really
Just
fucking did.
Open it up.
Like you opened up this new like opportunity like at the right time. And
I mean, you were wrong when you said you're great at this, man. Your skill and your authenticity just shines right through. I mean, there's a reason that I trust you to give me recommendations. I don't trust a whole lot of people. Believe it or not, when you become the editor of a comic company, that like there's a certain amount of ego involved in that. So, I'm not just one to like take anybody's recommendation, but when you recommended stuff, I could see that everything was coming straight from the heart. And that's exactly what you want. I don't know. I don't want to be overly salesy. I don't want to be like trying to carnival bark at people, but yeah. I fucking believe in every single one of my books, of our books. I mean, these aren't my books. Like I absolutely stand by any one of them, whether or not it's a heart-wrenching comic like Tayson would put out like Keepsakers, or it's something like Eli would put out like Ravage. Listen, they're not the same, but they're both great. And when you would talk about books, it would be the same thing. I could tell that you were absolutely just heartfelt about it. And I didn't want anybody else telling people about our baby than you.
Nice. Dude. Ah, fuck, man.
Love more, hate less, read comics.
Boom! We live by it. We believe it. We sell t-shirts with it on it. A lot of them. No, anyway, no, I mean a significant amount of them. But hey, Three Good Nerds, dude, thank you so much. I fucking love Three Good Nerds. These so people. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Working at Taco Bell for the Fountain Baja Blast would be one of the best reasons to work there, other than I'm diabetic and that would probably kill me. Chocolate milk and Mountain Dew Baja Blast basically are my kryptonite, and it's really a bummer. I love chocolate milk
together
so much
because that would be my kryptonite.
But yeah, guys, this was so fun. I had a blast talking to you, Kevin. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you joined us, man. For real, you're an impressive writer, and both of you are. I'm glad Indie Comic Books has you. And if Keith were here, I would include him in on that. The three of you are the holy trinity of indie comics, in my fucking opinion. Like,
I'll take it
in the name of the Kevin, the Mike, and the nerdy Keith. I'm in. Wow, that was bad. No, but I was raised Catholic. I always go there. I don't know why. raised Catholic, but I'm free now, so it's cool. Anyways, guys, this was great. Everybody who's in the chat and commenting, like, thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It sounds like, yeah, that zero sugar one is dog shit though. It doesn't even take. It's not Baja anything. It's fucking sad haha. It's like, yeah, it's like they laugh at you when you take a drink of it. You're like, ooh, Baja Zero, and then they're like, haha fucker, because that's not what Baja Blast is. Anyway, it's so good. God damn it. Anyway, this was great. It sounds like we got some potential Invader fans, which is what we were hoping to do tonight, to get an eye on this company, to get an eye on the great books these guys are putting out, and to remind people that there are these are just 3 human beings making crazy comics and doing 3 legendary human beings with fucking minds and bodies slabbed from granite. Just beautiful fucking people inside and out, making beautiful fucking offspring, making I'm gonna stop. This was so fun, guys, and Unknown Caller is great. I posted the link. I really hope some people check that out. Sarah, thank you. I keep trying to end it. People keep fucking commenting. Let me end the goddamn show. Everybody's like, Blake, you're bad at comments, until I try and end, and then I'm like, oh no, look, I'm listening now. But anyways, check out Invader Comics, follow them. We posted the socials, we posted the links. It's all there for you, and it's ready. And unless you guys got anything else to say, I'm gonna fucking play the music and let you all go free.
We always have open submissions. Check out the way to do that on our website.
Definitely do that. Unless you're gonna send some real weird shit that no one wants to read.
No, we're the only ones who will publish it.
That's true. Never mind. Yeah. So, but no, check out their submissions. Go to the website, invadercomics.com. There are clear directions on how to submit. I encourage you to do so. This is working with these guys is not like working with a traditional publisher. I'm gonna say that right now. They will give you love, care, and communication that a lot of other people don't have the time for. So really consider that. Everybody, thank you for watching. Like we said, love more, hate less, read comics. We live by it, we die by it, we believe in it. The invasion is coming. Unknown Caller is here for you. Get that shit now. Go back it. Make sure you get Recall too. Everybody, I fucking love you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we are out of here.
It's Blake's Buzz Live.